And hello everybody, welcome back once again to the Kingdom Hearts 2 Critical Mode Any Percent Speedrun tutorial. In this episode we are going to be covering the first visit to Halloween Town. Don't think I have anything to say before this one, so let's get into it. So, we'll enter the world, immediately quick run forward. And we're going to be greeted with an immediate menu. Not a huge menu, pretty easy one. We're just going to switch out Donald for Goofy. We're going to go up to Jack's items and take all of them. He's got 2 ethers and a potion. And then from there, we're going to switch over to Sora's items by pressing L2 once. And then once we've gotten to Sora's items, we're not actually doing anything in that menu. We're going to go to Sora's abilities. It's just fastest to do it this way. So switching over to Sora's items with L2, then pressing square to get to abilities. We are going to unequip upper slash and equip finishing leap. I accidentally did them out of order, but that's what you do. So that's the menu. Real quick right here, I summon Genie before I enter in, or before I leave this room, which enters you into a forced fight. But it's a forced fight that you can death abuse. The reason that we summon Genie is because Genie is the only thing that we have in order to make all party members and summons do nothing. So if we were to not summon Genie, our party members would start attacking the enemies, or if we were to summon Chicken Little, he'd whistle him in, that sort of thing. But if we summon Genie, he won't do anything, and then we can just step forward and die immediately to these enemies. So summon Genie and go out the door. These enemies can give you 1 of 2 attacks. They're just about the same speed. The overhead arm spin is a little bit faster, but the way to die is the same thing. Just walk forward and let yourself get hit. That's it. Easy peasy. And now we're going to quick run over to the hinterlands. Just some movement here, nothing too complicated. A lot of times when I'm quick running, you might see me like jump into a door, and that's a really subtle thing. You don't have to do it, but it increases your movement speed a little bit when you are entering a threshold. You can't go through a door until your quick run animation is finished, and by jumping at the end of it, you maintain the speed that you had with your quick run and are just able to go through the door a little bit faster. Sort of the same principle as I talked about with reverting from Valor Form going into Bailey. Not a big deal, just figured I'd mention it. But we will be going into our first fight, which is Candy Cane Lane. Make sure your command menu is on the limit side, which it should already be on after summoning Genie. And this fight's a little tricky. There is a lot of different ways that people have to do this opening. What I like the most, so your goal is to target this Jack in the Box here, slide dash to him, reflect, and then reflect the attack that he does. Some people like to just stand here, lock on, and then target switch to the Jack in the Box. When you lock on, you're going to automatically target this driller mole, and it just takes 1 target switch to the left to get to this guy, no matter how you're doing the strat. What I like to do is lock on and then start walking backwards, and then once I've target switched, slide dash over. Again, as I was saying, a couple ways to do this. You can also just wait. But that's the way that I find easiest. So let me show you what that looks like in slow motion a little bit, because it's pretty quick. I'm also going to mute it so the sound isn't aggressively gross. So I'm going to lock on, walk backwards, target switch, and then slide dash over. And then what I'm going to do after this is I'm going to immediately reflect. And then after that immediate reflect, I'm going to do a thunder finisher followed by another quick reflect. And the point of this is I want the first reflect to do damage to this enemy, then I want to do another attack with the thunder finisher to do a little more damage, and then another reflect to reflect his next shot. So that's a little complicated, so let me show you this in fast motion to see what it looks like. Step back, forward, reflect, thunder, reflect, and that's actually pretty tight. You need to get your reflect out pretty early, but then don't start your thunder finisher until you see this guy actually shoot, because you can kind of cancel your reflect a little bit by going into another attack. So you want to make sure this guy is shot and your first reflect has procced basically. And then after that, we're actually going to let ourselves get hit, because what we want to do is we want to EXP boost both this enemy and potentially these next 2. Now, this is where the potential lack of experience that I was talking about in Agrabah might come into play. So as you can see right now, I am 303 experience to the next level. This is kind of unusually high, but it's just a product of the save that I was working with. Normally, you'd probably see yourself be in like the 400 or 500 range, or worst case scenario, 600 or higher. And if you're 600 or higher, these guys give, I want to say 109 experience. But if you EXP boost, it's double. And depending on how much experience away from the level up you are, will basically determine how hard you need to work to make sure you experience boost all these enemies. In this video here, I experience boost 2 of the 3. I'm trying to experience boost 3. It just doesn't quite work out in my favor. But I'm going to talk you through how to experience boost all 3. And just, if you don't need to, you can just play it a little bit safer and easier. So starting back over, again, reflect, thunder, reflect, get hit. I'm going to aerial recover and immediately start an air combo double finisher. If you're fast enough with this, you can catch this Jack-in-the-Box. He's trying to jump away right now. But if you're quick enough, you'll catch him with your finisher and stop him from jumping away. In this case, my double finisher doesn't kill, but depending on what Goofy and Jack are, the double finisher could kill or he could die soon afterwards. It just kind of varies based on how lucky you are with your party members. Here, unfortunately, it takes him a little bit to die. As you see, I caught him there. And what I want to do, the way experience boost works is you only get double experience if Sora specifically gets the kill. If Goofy or Jack get the kill, it's just regular experience, which is pretty lame in my opinion, but it's something we have to deal with. So you'd think, oh, why aren't you going in and like thundering this guy or going in for a physical attack? Well, 2 reasons. One is I want to make sure my thunder kills, and I'm a little worried at this health level it might not do enough damage, and then right after it, Goofy and Jack might steal my kill, getting rid of my experience boost, which I definitely don't want. And also, after I kill this guy, I want to make sure I'm on the ground right here for the next wave of enemies. So I'm just going to kind of buy time a little bit as my party members do a bit of damage, and then I'm going to use a thunder to kill. I'm like, okay, that's good enough. We'll thunder him. These next 2 Jack-in-the-Boxes will spawn, and you'll go into Dance Call. You need to wait just a little bit after you've killed the enemy to go into your Dance Call in order for Dance Call to pull in the 2 enemies, which is a property of the attack, which is really nice. But you want to wait till they're spawned and then go into it. If you do it immediately, they won't have spawned yet, and it won't work. So that's just kind of a little FYI. But once you've called them in, you're going to be looking for... Why is this buffer? You're going to be looking for whether or not this little spinning part is hitting both enemies. And as far as I know, it's random whether or not it is. So Dance Call will just passively do damage with Sora's spin. And this, believe it or not, is our fastest and most consistent way to do damage. So I'm paying attention to make sure it's hitting both enemies. And it is. And it's hitting them an equal amount. And having them at the same health is very helpful. Had it not been working, and had it not been hitting both simultaneously, I would start using the triangle and X prompts. Just Dance Call 101, you want to be using synchronization. You have synchronization and downbeat as your 2 options, and when you use synchronization, so press triangle, they switch. So basically you'll be doing triangle, then X, then triangle, then X, just making sure you're always doing synchronization. That's the better attack. So had this not been hitting equally, that's what I would have done. And now you can see their health is getting pretty low, but my limit gauge is also running out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a synchronization to get in a little more damage. Then I'm going to cancel out of the limit and then go into physical attacks. Basically what I want is their health to be as low as possible when I end the limit, so that when I end the limit and immediately go into attack, they die instantly and have no chance of killing me. And the reason I end the limit is because, as I was saying, I want Sora to be the one getting the kill. And during Dance Call, it's honestly pretty random whether it credits Sora with the kill or credits Jack with the kill. So that's why I want to do this. And you're actually going to see I wait a little bit too long. One of them dies by Jack's hand, and I don't EXP boost it, but the other one does get killed by me, and I do EXP boost that guy. Again, my experience on this save is pretty high, so that's totally fine. But it's something you need to be aware of and looking out for when you're doing this. This is one of the cases where you do need to be paying close attention to your EXP just to know what you'll need to do. So I'm going to use this synchronization. I'm going to end it. And you see I do a little aerial spiral to kill. And level 18 is what I needed, if you saw that right there. Gives you a strength increase, and you need that going into the next Prison Keeper fight. That's Candy Cane Lane. A really quick fight, but a deceivingly difficult one. This is one I do have to come back and practice quite a fair bit. Particularly that opening timing with the target switch, slide dash, reflect, thunder, reflect. That's probably the hardest part of this, and you'll need to do it a fair few times to get it down. But from here, just go into Santa's house, have a little cutscene here, go into the workshop, and then eventually we'll be heading back into the hinterlands and going to fight Prison Keeper. One thing to note before we get into Prison Keeper, if you didn't hit level 18, don't kill the enemies that were in the Christmas Town Plaza. Deal with these guys. You don't want to deal with the Jack-in-the-Boxes. They'll get you killed. So yeah, if you need more, reflect one of these guys, do some physical combos, hope your party members help you out, and hopefully that'll be enough to get you to the level. But you do not want to enter Prison Keeper not at level 18. So just letting you know of that. Now continuing to quick run over to the fight. We'll head on over to the Curly Hill and deal with Prison Keeper. Now, there's a lot to go over with Prison Keeper, because as you might know, the opening to this fight is totally random based on which kid Prison Keeper decides to eat. And I'm going to show you how to deal with every single variation. And unfortunately, there's not just 3, there's actually 6. So he can eat any of the 3 kids to start the fight, and then in the next phase he can eat any of the other 2. So that is 6 total combinations, and I'll be able to show you them all here. The first one that I'm going to show you is starting with Barrel and then going into Lock, which is best RNG, the easiest to deal with, so we're starting with that. So this is the start of the fight. You do need to pay attention and see, okay, he ate Barrel, I know what to expect. Barrel's attack, he kind of bites at you. So what you're going to do is, right as he's getting close to you and getting ready to bite, you take a small step to the left and reflect. The reason you take the small step to the left, if you don't, there's a chance he's just going to whiff you, which is pretty dumb. But taking the small step to the left, he's not going to whiff, and you'll connect with it. After the reflect hits, you'll use a Blizzard and then a finishing leap. So let's see. Reflect, Blizzard, finishing leap, and now we're going to go into an air combo double finisher. If you're fast enough with this, that will cause him to retaliate again. If not, he'll stay staggered and you'll knock him away, and you'll just go in and do another air combo, which will cause him to retaliate. You'll do the same reflect, Blizzard, finishing leap as you did at the start, which is also what you're going to do here as you see him retaliate. So he's doing this little head pump thing. That's him getting ready to do his attack. And you got to make sure you block this, because if you fail to block this, this is a one-shot. So definitely know what you're doing here. So just once again, since I was talking over that a little bit, reflect, Blizzard, finishing leap, full air combo, land, reflect, Blizzard, finishing leap, and that'll hit his health barrier. We've talked about health barriers before, but this fight has a lot of them. When you hit this first health barrier, which is this threshold right here, he'll start to do a little check on himself. I'm not really sure what to call it, but regardless, you're going to start Dance Call. And this is true of all phases. Start hitting it. Synchronization, and switch to synchronization again. Synchronization up here. Synchronization down here. Synchronization up here. And we don't do the finisher, we end it. And you want to make sure you get your damage to about here. The health barrier is right around here. And as I end the limit, I'm going to do a little aerial spiral just to make sure he gets to his health barrier. And then I'll run away to avoid the little spin attack he does when he eats the child. I'm not mashing these because mashing isn't enough. If you just mash them as fast as possible, you're not going to do enough damage. You need some of the time in between where it's just doing normal spinny hits. So I hit, So you kind of see I use the synchronization, and then I kind of like push into him, do a little bit of damage, and then use the synchronization, push into him. So yeah, that's what you need to do. And again, alternating your triangle and X pushes. Then I end it. That is him hitting his health barrier. He spreads his arms wide and does that spin. That spin can hurt you, so that's why I quick run away. And what we're gonna do here is we're gonna watch as he's eating the kids, so we're aware what phase is coming next. But we're gonna start up an air combo, and what we want to do is land our first finisher right as he becomes vulnerable. So right now he's invulnerable, but we want to time it so our first finisher lands right as he becomes vulnerable. So I start it here, boom, boom, bam, bam, and I can get in those two finishers, which, because it was the lock phase, immediately staggered him. If it's barrel or shock, he doesn't get staggered, but it doesn't matter. You do that same thing regardless. So let's see that again. Just timing an aerial spiral so I can do a double finisher right when he becomes vulnerable, and then going immediately into Valor form. He kind of got knocked away from my camera, which is annoying, but I'm going to do 2 hits and then go straight into finisher. You can also do 1 hit and straight into finisher. That's probably a little safer, to be honest, because you don't want to hit his revenge value when he's in lock phase, because he runs away from you. So square square is fine, but square x square is also okay. Boom. And then I'm going to do 1 more. I can't remember if it's 2 or 3 hits. We'll see. So I do 1 more 3 hits, and that's going to push him to his health barrier again, which is right here, pushing him into his final phase. So let's watch that one more time. Just 'cause this is a complex fight. So just keeping an eye at his health. Boom. That's the health barrier. You'll know you've hit it because he's going to spread the arms wide and do the spin. And this time he's going to eat all the kids. And it's random what attack he'll go into, but it also doesn't matter. Similar to how we were timing the air combo double finisher, we're going to time an air combo while we're in Valor form and hit him with the finisher right as he becomes vulnerable. So I jump, X. So I actually mistimed it a little bit there, but it didn't matter. I still hit him with the finisher, and he went into the shock phase. So spins up and starts doing the little lasers here. Because of this, I'm going to I'm going to get back to him and go ahead and do a full combo. While he's in this, he doesn't stagger, so you can hit him like crazy without pushing his revenge value at all. So I just go ahead and do a full combo, which is what you'll need to do. And I'll talk a little bit more about the final phase in the other RNG examples, because that's probably a better example of what you'll need to do. So, but I'm doing a full combo on him here. And then when you hit him in shock phase, he gets knocked to the ground. I'm gonna keep my momentum going over to him, and then do as much damage as I can with Valor form, which in this case was a full combo. And then it's gonna instantly cause me to revert. And since I haven't hit his revenge value yet, I'm gonna immediately go into air combos here with. Now I have hit his revenge value, and he's going to come at me by spinning the cage. What I'm going to do now is very fast. So I auto-reverted from Valor, and if you've noticed, I've turned my command menu over to Limit. What we're going to do is we're going to jump, reflect, and go into Trinity Limit. What this does is, 1, makes the reflect hit and is also doing damage with Trinity Limit, but more importantly, is it puts you into MP recharge, and now this Trinity Limit, or the reflect, is going off while you're in MP charge and causing you to get even more drive back than you normally would. You want to make sure you're right about 2 bars before finishing this fight, and if you finish this fight and you're not close to 2 bars, then you need to go build up some drive before you enter Oogie Boogie, because you need drive for that fight to survive, really. But we're doing this Trinity Limit. In this example that I'm showing, the Trinity Limit doesn't kill, but I only need to do 1 part of it, and then I can kill him with an air combo. If you're not as clean as these video examples are in the first or in the second phase with your Valor form attacks, you're probably going to need to do both parts of Trinity. And if that's the case, once the first part of Trinity finishes, do 2 air hits, so an aerial spiral and a regular hit, and then go right into the second part of Trinity. You can technically squeeze in a finisher as well, but it's incredibly tight, and I don't recommend it because you don't want to risk losing Trinity Limit. So you just do those hits, go into the next part of Trinity Limit, and then finish him off with an air combo if you still need to. So I realized that after the first part, he's basically dead, so I'll just finish him off with a regular air combo. So that was the barrel into lock example. Now I'm going to show you what to do with Prison Keeper when he starts with lock. So lock is the fireball attack. What you're going to do at the start of this fight is you're going to immediately run over to the right of him, heading this direction. That's going to force him, he runs away from you when he's doing his lock. That's going to force him to head in this direction. You don't want him to go into the curly hill because positioning can just get crazy. You don't really know where he's going to end up. So you want to start off by immediately walking this direction, forcing him to go this way. So you see me do that? He does his flame, or his fireball, and I reflect it. So walking right over to the right, reflected it, and you'll either get a slide dash or an aerial dive here. And in a lot of ways, this is one of the more spaghetti phases, I guess I'll call it, where you're just doing your attacks and not necessarily having it be super scripted, because no matter whether you're getting the slide dash or the aerial dive, after you use your finishers, he's going to try to run away, and the idea of stopping him is kind of the same. So here I'm going to get a slide dash, and I'm just going to do a full ground combo, use my finishing leap to go into an air combo. And now with this air combo, what I'm trying to do is push him into the wall or into the corner, because I want him to run away and then get stuck, so I'm immediately able to go after him again. As I was saying, this is kind of the most, like, do your best with it combo in this fight. If you had gotten the aerial dive, same thing. Try to push him into the wall, into the corner, so he can't run too far away from you. And then just do another air combo, and that'll push his health barrier right there. So it's pretty quick. Again, reflect into a combo. Then catch him as he's running away, do another air combo, and just like the previous example, we go right into Dance Call. Again, using the synchronizations, making sure he hits the health barrier, ending it, running away to not get hit. And again, timing the double finisher. This time he gave me shock in second phase. And even if you land both finishers right when he becomes vulnerable, he doesn't get staggered during shock phase. So he's going to go up into the sky no matter what you do here. So what's going to happen is you're going to land your double finisher, and then you're going to get hit by him, which is what you want. He's going to knock you into the air, and then you're immediately going to go into Valor form. So hit, aerial recovery, Valor form, and then you're going to start the full combo that I was showing where he doesn't get staggered at the end in the previous example. And then just hit in the square is enough damage to push his next phase. So shock in second phase is not as bad as shock in first phase. As you'll see in a second, shock in first phase is the slowest to deal with, but shock in second phase is not a big deal. Let's see that one more time. Timing the double finisher, getting hit, going into Valor form, and then an X square to end. Then final phase is the same. I'm going to try to jump up, time the hit into finisher, and the finisher landing when he becomes vulnerable. Boom. He was giving me the barrel attack there, but the Valor form finisher is strong enough to cancel the barrel attack, so that's nice. But your combos here get very specific. So in the previous example, we ended with shock, and they weren't as specific because he was in a phase where he wasn't taking any revenge value. But now that he is, because he's staggered, what we're going to do is we're going to do 3 X presses and then a square press. So a full combo would be 4 X presses into a finisher. This one is 3 X presses into a finisher. If you do 4, you'll hit his revenge, and that's not what you want. So 1, 2, 3, finisher. And now in this last combo, he's so close to hitting his revenge value, but as you're hitting him in Valor form, he's not going to be able to get out of it until you're done using your attacks. And at that point, you'll be ready to reflect and go into Trinity Limit as happened before. So now we can just use as many X presses as we can, get as much damage in as possible. So you see, I even got some double finisher in there. Usually you just have enough to get one finisher, but I got a little double finisher. I auto-reverted after the double finisher, just immediately went into an aerial spiral because I could, and now I'm going to reflect, and then go into the Trinity Limit. And similar to the last example, I see that that's low enough health that I can finish with just physical combos. And as I was saying before, if his health is not low enough, if his health is more like here, just do 2 hits and then go into another Trinity Limit. But that is what happens when he starts with lock and goes into barrel. And now we will see what happens. Or actually, no, that was lock into shock. Now we'll see what happens when he starts with shock and goes into barrel. These 3 kids are hard. Their names are hard to remember. As I was saying, shock is the slowest one because there's no reflects that we're able to do in the beginning. In the previous 2, we were able to do reflect. This time, we can't do that. So what we're going to do at the start of this fight, he's going to get ready to spin upwards. We're going to run around to right over here, kind of the same positioning as we did in the lock phase, and let ourselves jump and let ourselves get hit. The goal here is to try to align yourself with an air combo so that you knock him in this area. So basically in the middle between the 2 corners on the side of the arena. I'm also going to show two of the most common examples. I didn't show it with the lock phase, but I think it's more common to get variation between whether you get an aerial dive or a slide dash in this next combo that's coming up, so I included them both here. Regardless, we jumped, got hit, did an aerial recovery, and then we're going to do an air combo with 1 finisher to knock him down, trying to get him into this middle area, which I mostly succeeded in doing, right? We're going to land and do an attack. The attack you do when you land can either be a slide dash or an aerial dive or a slide dash and then it becomes an aerial dive. There's a lot of possibilities just based on how Prison Keeper's model is sitting. It's not consistent, but I'm going to prepare you to be able to handle both options. So this option, you're going to see the slide dash into aerial dive. So I did a slide dash and then sort of went right into an aerial dive. I'm going to continue this aerial dive and do a full combo with a double finisher. And then I'm just going to immediately start another combo with a double finisher. And getting that aerial dive is actually the best RNG you can do. If you get slide dash, aerial dive, double finisher, you're in business because this next combo with a double finisher is actually enough to push his phase transition. So he's going to try to get himself into the air, but you're going to be able to stop him before that happens. Just like that. And we went right into the Jax Lemon. Now I'm going to show you the version where you don't get the aerial dive. So same thing, we're going to try to position ourselves to the side, jump, get hit, and try to knock him over this direction. I actually fail a little bit this time and knock him a little more into the corner. It's not a big deal, I just got to run a little bit farther to go after him. So now I'm doing a slide dash, but instead of getting the aerial dive again, I'm just going to continue getting a ground combo. So I'm going to do a full ground combo, and my second finisher is going to be a finishing leap. Finishing leap, now I'm going to go into an air combo with 2 finishers. Also something to note, sometimes this finishing leap hits, sometimes it doesn't. The reason, again, why we try to push him into the wall, that gives you better odds of the finishing leap connecting, but it doesn't matter too much if it does or not, because your next moves are going to be the same. So going into the full air combo, this time he's going to hit. We're going to hit his revenge value and aren't going to be able to finish him off before he gets into the air. So he's going to do a spin attack. You're going to let yourself get hit, and then you're just going to do a full air combo with 1 finisher, and that'll be enough to push his phase this time. You'll land and go right into Dance Call again. And I'll go ahead and show the rest of this. Oh, because as I said, we're going into shock into barrel. So same thing with the dance call. Get out of there. Time the double finisher. So really the only difference with barrel is, and there isn't much, it's just that he is not going to stagger when you land his double finisher. And he could technically hit you during this, but because you're flailing around so much and that attack has a hard time landing to begin with, it basically never happens. So we're able to land this double finisher and go straight into Valor form with no issue. And my Valor form actually parried him. And this time I'm going to go into a full combo. And then another combo, 2 hits, finisher is enough to push. Actually, just 1 hit is enough. What do I know? So full combo, single finisher, then 1x hit or 1x input into a square input is enough to push his face. You'll definitely want to be practicing just so you know all these combo combinations, because there's a lot. I also got caught on his model a bit during that finisher, so I got hit. Not a big deal. Just land and potion myself. Don't want to go in there. Not at full health. Gets very scary and dangerous. But again, jumping up, timing the finisher. 3 hits into a square finisher. Then just the full combo. I actually turn my command menu over to limit. I don't manually revert because I'm just going to let myself do as much Valor hits as I can and then let it auto revert. That time I got even a full double finisher in, which is really crazy. Bam. And you see where my drive is at right here? That's about as low as you want to be. If it's any lower than that, I'd advise getting a little bit of drive back before you enter Oogie Boogie, which you can do in the hinterlands, and I'll show you what to do. But yeah, that was Prison Keeper. There's a lot to that fight, so take some time, rewatch the video, that sort of thing. If you're low on drive, you can just reflect this guy as he's attacking you, and that'll get you back a little bit, which will probably be enough. But yeah, just be close to 2 drive before going into Oogie. We're heading into the Yuletide Hill. We're gonna do a quick save warp here. So heading back to the save point that's behind you. Go into the world map, and then you're gonna do a down input to go into Santa's house. And then we're gonna head into the Oogie Boogie fight. This fight is RNG hell. It's also incredibly long. It's like a 3-minute long fight, so it's definitely not one you want to die to. And at the start of this fight, Oogie can do, or he can do 3 different things. Or he's always going to start by letting out 3 presents, but after that he can do actually 4 different things. He can immediately give you another wave of presents to knock back. He can throw down a gift bomb. He can throw down 2 gift bombs, or he can do his punch, which is the squash you flat. It's obviously fastest if you get the RNG where he just gives you another wave of presents, but there's nothing you can do about it, so you just take it as it comes and do your best to avoid taking damage. So in this example, I have a little bit more drive because I've spliced these videos together. But what you're gonna do, you're gonna lock onto Oogie, you're gonna use a thunder, and then you're gonna use the RC. So you're just going to continuously get close to the present, use a thunder, and then use the RC. So the thunder is doing 2 things. 1, it's depleting your MP bar. And 2, even though it's not damaging Oogie, every time the thunder impacts, you actually get a little bit of drive back. So you can see that happening here. So yeah, I got that back. Got a little more back. Got a little more back. So yeah, I'm just doing thunder, hit the present, thunder, hit the present, thunder, hit the present. And as you saw, Oogie threw a present bomb on me, but when you're doing the RC on the boxes, you have iframes, so I was able to iframe through it, and it didn't hurt me at all. When he says that's right, away you go, that's when you know another wave of presents is coming. When he says I'll squash you flat, that's when you know the punch is coming. Just things to be aware of. Sound cues are actually pretty important in this fight, but I'm continuing on with my thunder into the RC. He said I'll squash you flat, and you can see from the shadow that the punch is coming. So let the punch hit, and then quick run through it. Using the RC. For each of these phases, it's gonna take 12 boxes to knock Oogie off his platform thing. In this first phase, he just gives you 4 straight waves of 4 straight waves of 3 boxes, and you just use the RC on all of them to knock him off. And again, you see that I'm in MP charge. So just keeping count so you know when he's gonna get knocked down. So it didn't happen here, but if on this last phase he said I'll squash you flat, you want to delay doing your very last present. So the present that I just knocked up was the 12th, so he's about to fall down and I'm about to be able to attack him. But if he said I'll squash you flat, I would have waited for a second and then used it. The reason I do that is because if you do it immediately, the punch can actually hit Oogie too and can knock him all the way to the back, which is really annoying because you want to do your best to keep him in here or keep him in this area so that after you hit his health barrier, he doesn't have a long way to run. And you know, the further he has to run, the more time it takes. This is a speedrun. We're trying to go fast. So that aside, we just knocked up the 12th present, and we're going to go in and do some attacks. The boys have a chance of helping you out, particularly if Jack is using his fire attack. If Jack's using his fire attack, then all it takes is a full combo with 2 finishers to hit Oogie's health barrier. Normally, it takes an aerial spiral and then a full combo afterwards. And a lot of times you want to do that aerial spiral anyways, because you're trying to build, not only are you trying to do damage on him, you're trying to build your drive to 3 bars. So you're going to see me do an aerial spiral here, and then I'm going to land and start another air combo, because I want to make sure I get myself to 3 drive. And even when he's invincible here, my hits are still getting me drive back. So I just want to keep doing him. But anyways, I've got myself to 3 drive. We're about to get another wave of presents. Also, let's say, for example, that you just barely missed getting to 3 drive. Well, no fear, because you're about to get MP back, and you can lock on and do some thunders on him. Just be careful with it. Make sure you're not getting hit by these dice. Also, I was saying gift bombs. They're dice. What do I know? Make sure you're not getting hit by the dice, and make sure you're not getting hit by the punch. I've had it happen where I try to use the thunder to get drive back. The conveyor belt moves me back into the punch's vicinity, and then it one-shots me, and I am sad. So just be aware if you need to do that. But anyways, we're going through. We knocked up 3 gift boxes to him, and now he's going to squash us flat no matter what. And I just run against the portal thing here. When you're against the portal, the punch doesn't hit you. And now you're about to see why we need 3 drive. So at this point, Oogie's going to let out these gift bags, and inside these gift bags are enemies. It can either be a white knight or an emerald blue, and you want to see white knights. If you see emerald blues, you're in trouble, and that sucks. There's nothing you can do about it. It's totally random. I'm going to show you the example where you get 2 white knights, which honestly is the most common. And then I'll just tell you a little bit what to do if you get the emerald blues, aside from pray. So what we're going to do, regardless of what comes out of these gifts, is we're going to get ready to summon Chicken Little. And you're going to summon him right here after 1 bag has come out. There's going to be 3 more boxes that come out here, and you're going to knock them all up. And right after you finish knocking the 3rd box, you're going to go into FPS mode. Regardless of which enemies come out, you want to go into FPS mode. So let's see what that looks like. So I got the two white knights. They're right here getting whistled in by Chicken Little. Thank you very much. Chicken Little is out to protect you and also allow you to do what I'm about to show you, which is called present skip. So when we go into FPS mode, we're going to walk to the end here, wait for the fist to punch, because he's saying I squash you flat. And then we're going to press square to end Chicken Little's limit. And when Chicken Little's limit ends, he automatically whistles the enemies in, and they are not going to get killed by the punch. And that's actually good. You want these enemies to stay alive. If they were Emerald Blues, I'd be saying this a little differently. You'd want them to get punched And to do that, you'd probably want to chuck baseballs at them and try to get them in the range where they'll get punched. That's honestly your best option. If you get Emerald Blue, if you get 2 Emerald Blues, that's basically the game saying fuck you. It's incredibly rare. Like, I'd honestly say it's like a 2% chance of that happening, maybe a little bit higher, but if that happens, you know, you're kind of hoping for the best. But regardless, getting back to present skip, the punch came down. We went into FPS mode. Punch came down. I ended the limit. That caused these white knights to be whistled in. And now Oogie is going to release 3 more presents. But you only need to hit 2 of them. Once you've hit 2 of them, he's going to switch conveyor belts. So these guys, or Chicken Little, auto-dismissed himself after using his FPS mode. We're going to knock away these 2 boxes. And our party members are about to respawn. And at the same time as they're respawning, these white knights are now ready to attack us. They're no longer stunned by Chicken Little. So what we want to do is we want to go off to the side so they don't hit us. Wait for Jack to connect with them. Jack's going to come out swinging and start attacking. And once Jack connects with them, you take him out. You take him out, and then you quick run up to the portal, and then you look to the sky. The reason you do that is because Jack's attack is going to leave them stunned. They'll lay on the ground. They won't be attacking you. They won't be trying to hit you as you're getting ready to teleport to wherever Oogie goes. So again, I hit the 2 boxes. The party members spawn in. Jack goes after him. I pull him out right after he hits, and then I look up to see which way Oogie's going, and then I teleport to the one he's going to. And now what's happening is Goofy's now trying to attack these enemies. But we actually want to keep them alive in order to do this present skip thing that I'm talking about. So right when we land, we're going to take Goofy out of there. Donald's on Sora attack, so he can't do any attacks, so you're safe. Or you're not worried about him. So we're going to pull Goofy out, and Jack's going to come back in. But Jack's going to be on this platform, so he can't hit them anymore, which is good. So we're going to knock these 3 boxes, and then we're going to go see where these enemies are. Sometimes they're right here. That's the easiest to deal with if they're right next to you. But in this case, they're a little bit farther behind. I'm going to go run towards them, lock on, and use a Thunder. The reason I do that is because I don't want them to despawn. If I don't Thunder them here, they'll despawn before it's time for me to teleport back to this middle portal. And it'll make a little more sense once I show you what present skip is actually accomplishing. But basically, is after you knocked these 3 boxes up and Oogie starts using his punch move, if these enemies were dead, he'd try to spawn more enemies. And you'd have to wait for those enemies to spawn before you're able to knock the next box and then go start wailing on him. But because they're still alive, he doesn't spawn these the enemies. And then you just get immediately another box and can start wailing on him sooner. Overall, present skip is going to save you about 10 seconds if you get it completely correct, which is a pretty big deal. So let's see the Thunder. So I run back, Thunder this guy, and then I turn back around, get past the punch, and then all it takes is 1 box and Oogie gets knocked down. Now let's say you actually failed present skip. So these enemies died. Oogie spawns more enemies. What do you do? So after you knock up the box, instead of using physical combos on him, you need to go right into Dance Call. Because the enemies that Oogie spawned in on this platform are going to be trying to wail at you. So you want to go into Dance Call, take out both the enemies and Oogie at the same time. But it's fastest if you use physical combos on him, which is what we're accomplishing by getting this present skip. So now I'm getting ready to beat him up. To kill or to hit Oogie's phase here, we're going to do a full combo with 2 finishers. Then we're going to do a combo with 1 finisher, and then we're going to do another combo with 1 finisher. Similar to the first phase, your party members have a chance to help you out, and I'm going to be showing that at the end, what that looks like. But in this case, they don't help me out, so I have to do this specific set of hits. Double finisher, 1 finisher, 1 finisher. And you might be able to hear it, but the white knights are still alive and trying to attack me. Now you're about to see the second benefit of present skip. So if these enemies were all dead, if there was no enemies out, you'd have a chance of being able to immediately... So Oogie does this, you won't make a dope out of me, the conveyor belts go really fast. And then he'll say, let's crank this up. And had these enemies not been there, what you'd want to do is try to mash like crazy. And there's like one frame where you're able to use the RC and it'll teleport you into the middle one. But because these enemies are still out, you actually don't have to do that. It automatically opens the gates for you. It's not a one frame, you're just able to teleport. And that right there is also saving you time. Because if in the other case where the enemies were dead and you tried to go for that one frame and miss it, you'd have to wait for him to release more presence. Or more presence with enemies in them before you're able to teleport to the middle one. And that's why we call it present skip. You're skipping a lot of enemy presence that you would normally have to deal with. But that ends this present skip segment. Now we go to the final segment where he's releasing lightning and you still got to hit up the boxes. The lightning can be really dangerous. If you get clipped by the lightning, there's a chance it combos you all the way to the back and you have no way of getting out of it, or you can't get out of the way of it. The only way to survive would be to go into a limit, but you really hope you don't have to use that panic option. So what you need to do is basically time your RCs well so that you're iframing through the electricity, or just wait, honestly. So Oogie says you'll try dodging this or whatever. So I wait for the electricity, or I waited to see which side this electricity was going to go on because it's random which side. And once I saw it was coming to the left, I'm like, okay, I know I can go after that second present. I framed through that dice bomb right there. One more present, and now he's going to switch sides. What I like to do is currently the blue portal is on the right side, and Oogie is deciding which side he wants to go to. In my head, I kind of say right, left, right, basically trying to time when the portal colors are going to switch, so that once I know which way he's going to go to, I am ready to switch to that side once it becomes available. So he goes to the left, I see it's already blue, I hop on over. Once again, we'll have 4 presents with the lightning here, or the first 3 presents, then a dice bomb, he'll squash you flat, and then release another present. I'm actually going to get clipped here, so I was bad. I did not time this well. I got clipped, but I got lucky enough that it knocked me out of it. If I had been a little more center, it was going to take me all the way to the back of the conveyor belt and try to kill me, and the only way I could survive is use a limit. But I got lucky here. I got knocked away, and now I was just able to run up and... Whoops. I was just able to run up and go knock away those presents. Quick run through the punch. And now we want to go to the middle. In this next part, Oogie is going to move over to the middle, and then he can decide whether or not to move again to the right. If he moves again to the right, it's bad luck. You lose another 5 seconds. It's annoying, but it's just something we have to deal with. So either way, though, you move to the middle. So wait for it to be ready to move to the middle. Then quick run to the front, just in case. Okay, he moved on me. That sucks. And I teleport over to this one. Now we get one more set of lightning, 3 boxes, and then dice block, punch, and then one more box. Again, I'm iframing through that dice. And now this will spawn, or this last dice, or this last box will knock Oogie from his platform, and we'll start beating the shit out of him. It's the same combo sequence as the previous one to kill. That is an air combo with 2 finishers, an air combo with 1 finisher, an air combo with 1 finisher. But this time, kind of by luck, there are setups to make your party members help you out, but I frankly suck at it, and I don't think it's too much to worry about in this sort of tutorial. If you've gotten really good, then you can look into it. But in this case, I get help from Jack. He's using his fires, and I'm actually able to kill in 2 combos with 2 finishers. Just like that. And that is Halloween Town. That was a long one. This is This is a tricky world. There is a lot of RNG, a lot of different scenarios you'll have to deal with, but I'm pretty sure I covered just about everything that you may see in this world. So hope this video was helpful, and I'll see you guys in the next one.